meditation is not a doing, as I said, it is a surrendering. It is totally different from what we are accustomed. One of the main problems people face when they meditate is the continuous stream of thoughts. Now you have to realize that it's not you who is doing the thoughts, who is doing the thinking. We have a part in the brain we call the default mode network, and this default mode network has as its task triggering, generating thoughts to prepare you for whatever may come. The thoughts are therefore very much orientated on the future, or it can also manifest itself by ruminating on thoughts from the past. Clearly, this system is a very useful system for our ego structure to operate in the world, but it also makes it difficult to surrender totally and glide into the vast emptiness which meditation is. So the first step in meditation is to understand that this is not a mistake of you, and this happens to everyone, but there is a way around. By accepting that this system works like it works, you can be more compassionate to the system and definitely don't need to go in judgments about the system. You accept the system, and you, instead of wanting to surpass it, you want to dive deeper into it by becoming present for the thoughts. Just become a field of awareness, and in this field of awareness you receive the thoughts without focusing on them, very passive, very relaxed, as if you're extremely tired. You see the thought, and each thought has your full attention. Everything which happens has your full attention, just as by now, although I speak, I am in this state. I feel the stone in my back, and I see the little movements of the leaves around me, and the amazing colors and the amazing intimacy of this space somewhere in my garden. Now we can start together an exploration, a short exploration of how to glide into meditation. So let's close the eyes after you found a comfortable place to sit, and bring our attention into the now. Just be present for the sounds, present for the sensations, present for the lights behind the closed eyes. It is not necessary to exclude anything. The sound of the tractor which passes by on the little sandy road here, of the farmer who is going to pick the carob beans from the trees, is just as welcome as any other sensation. Then you are aware, attentive to everything which happens in and now, including if thoughts rise. Now a thought rises. be attentive. Don't jump on the thought, and don't let the thought seduce you into a whole system of adjacent thoughts, because the system creates thoughts like a necklace, thought after thought after thought. Now you are attentive for the thoughts. They don't happen because you give energy to it. If you don't give energy to it, if you don't go with the thoughts, if you don't lose yourself in the thoughts, but just remain a cool and distant watcher, open for all experiences, the thought will very quickly disappear, and a new thought will rise. Let it rise. Give your full attention to the now, including the thought. Just be aware of the thought which happens, and don't do anything. Don't put fuel on the fire. Let it extinguish in its own natural way. It will glide away. So be present for each thought which rises, and be also present for the space between thoughts. Just totally present. You are without thoughts that might trigger a thought that is great, because each thought helps you to be totally attentive and start to see the mechanism of the thought generation and the thought continuation. If you don't give attention like identification to the thought, then the thought will not make you a slave. If you are not attentive, if you are in the state of everyday life, distracted by many things, you will directly become distracted by a thought and put fuel in the thought, and the thought proliferates into other thoughts, and only after a while you find yourself back into a whole train of thoughts totally in another place than here and now. This meditation, where you are attentive and aware for everything which rises in the now, is the anchor which brings you into the state of no mind. It is also not about reaching that state. That state is not in need to be reached, because that state is your ultimate being. In meditation, you will discover that you are this vast, empty space of being aware. And in this empty space of aware, it is more than awareness. It is aware. It is a verb, not a noun. In this empty state of aware, you totally surrender, and time vanishes. The now becomes eternal. All emotions and nervousness and stress just melts away you are not giving fuel to any of those items, and you see very clear what you are. The moment you recognize in meditation or in action who you really are, life becomes extremely simple. That is why meditation never should become a tool, a method. It is and should be an invitation for you to connect to your essence. Of course, you cannot connect to your essence because you are your essence, but your vision on your essence is blurred by identification with thoughts, with whole trains of thoughts. And the meditation which brings you in the state of no mind is not a tool, but it is a state of mind, the empty state of mind. So experiment with this approach. Listen to this video a couple of times and walk with me through the vast realm of happenings during your observation, during you being attentive. And then the big bonus is that you will recognize this state of being attentive also in everyday life, and it will make your life very simple because there is no ego in this state. Ego is just as thoughts, a product of certain brain activity. Ego is just a construct with which you identify. And the moment you identify with the construct, you are becoming a slave of impulses, a slave of being blind, not being attentive, and you can react to all kinds of stuff and happenings in a way which is not really helpful for yourself. Aho.